So I would like you to give us some of the top two or three sales strategy mistakes that you commonly see. And I don't want to just talk about mistakes. I want to talk about why do these happen? What are the pain points that cause these things to happen?
Yeah. The fundamental problem I see over and over again is that they don't even have a sales strategy, right? Like a proper sales strategy, as I defined it earlier. One of the biggest mistakes they do is they have a tactic driven approach to driving sales. And what do I mean by that? Tactic driven approach is we're going to get sales from LinkedIn.
Right.
And that's it. I know this to be a fact. Someone messaged me, he's in my network, a friend of mine, and he wanted tips about B2B lead generation. I told him a strategy, and he got back and he's like, oh, will LinkedIn work? It's like, okay, no, you need to take a step back. So,
Yeah.
what is a proper sales strategy in the way we execute it? We employ what's called an account based approach. So, ABM. So, instead of like, okay, there's all these list of contacts, we're going to basically spam them with cold email. We take a step back and it's like, okay, who are essentially the top 100 companies that we would like to work with that based off the work that we've done would actually be a good fit and potentially would be open to hearing our offer. Once we have that in place, then we can start working on which channels to start connecting with them. And how this works effectively, it's not a one channel over another, it's a multi-channel approach. You send an email, you follow up with a LinkedIn message, you pick up the phone, you message on email again, you meet them at an event. Because if you look at the data I've seen around, I guess, how many touches does it take to get someone maybe to remember your brand? It might take 7 to 11 touches.
Yeah.
Whereas the biggest mistake I see, to go back to your question about sales strategy, is they'll focus on one channel and they'll message someone once or twice, and then it doesn't work.
After COVID, there was a client of ours that had been really hit hard. They came to me and said, hey, we need leads. Should we do ads? Should we do Facebook? What should we do? I basically said, who are your customers currently? What is working now? Most of our customers come from trade show events, people we've met in the industry, or repeat customers. And you have their list of their emails, right? Yes. Awesome. Take 5 a day. You have nothing going on. And I don't want you to pay me to do this. I don't want you to pay me to do some Facebook ads or something like that. I want you to sit down for 5 minutes each day and email these friends. Send them a picture of the last ride you did with them 4 years ago before COVID started. Hey, I was just reminiscing. Want to see how you're doing. FYI, we're back up and running. Would love to have you out again. If you do that, you won't need me at all. It's completely free. It's just your time. They didn't like that answer. They didn't do it. Because a lot of times on the marketing side, people are time poor and they want to delegate it out instead of having an actual logical strategy for how to approach the best people that are most likely to buy your product in a reasonable way. They want to delegate it. And I understand that situation. At the same time, sometimes the best tactics in both sales and marketing are things that aren't easy to delegate. I mean, I could have had my wife and you could have had your wife delegate this podcast to each
Yeah.
other, right? My wife interviewing your wife. And they would have made a very, very entertaining podcast, I'm sure. But if we'd give them this outline and stuff, it wouldn't have been the same. I'm not trying to get in trouble here.
Yeah, I get
So,
it's interesting though. I think that reveals something quite fundamental about human psychology in terms of how people would prefer to solve problems. Would they prefer
pain
to
avoidance.
would they prefer to take the pill that's going to get rid of the headache in an hour or two, or would they commit to drinking more water during the day, taking more supplements, and maybe having a rest for 15 minutes? it gets worse, right? Let's say this is happening to the business owner and they're like, okay, we just need more leads. Even though they understand this is a solution to the problem they think they have, they're going to be tinkering with stuff in the back end. They'll keep changing their offer. They'll keep changing their pricing. They'll spend more time fixing their website. So
Yeah.
it's not a case of just one problem and then we're going to look to get someone to help with that problem. Generally, they're actually making the problem worse by not being able to understand fundamentally what the core issue is.
It's funny because in many ways we're busy, but only in the last year we really started marketing our agency here in Chiang Mai, serving clients around the world and wanting to grow. So we actually have a pretty well developed marketing strategy. I wouldn't say it's a sales strategy yet. It helps so much when my team or I go to my website or see how many podcasts we've published on YouTube. And I go, oh, it's maybe fewer than I want, or there's still things that need to be improved about our website. Having the strategy, having that framework allows me not to get carried away with that. Like otherwise I spend the whole weekend building out more pages and things like that. No, marketing strategy says, yes, that will be needed over time. And here's kind of a phased plan. It allows me to, what we call calm marketing, rest, rely on that strategy to go, no. It's okay that the website isn't perfect yet. It's okay that I'm not publishing maybe as many podcasts as I'd like to because we have these constraints that were all defined in the strategy, right? Similar to a sales strategy.
Yeah, so that's a good term, constraints.
You could go to every trade show there is, but if you don't have a sales strategy, if the only thing preventing you is your budget, as opposed to an actual strategic, no, we're not going to those events for this reason, because it's thought through, that's a lot more calming, I hope, to a founder, business owner, or a sales team to go, no, we're intentionally not doing that. We're intentionally not on TikTok for these reasons.
Yeah,
And that doesn't exist for a lot of companies.
yeah. What comes to mind there is the owner who's doing all the selling themselves, right? And they feel the pressure like we need more sales, we need more leads. But the
Are you
reality,
talking to me right now? Because that's my position.
this was an elaborate strategy to basically to have this podcast so you would realize your own problems, Jay.
This is a discovery meeting for your consulting services. Yeah.
Yeah, that we also get to market as well, so we get some good content out of it. The constraint they have that they're probably not fully aware of is when they have that need, that pressure of like need more sales, need more leads. Realistically, they don't have the time or energy to be able to do all of that. They have to make sure that the fulfillment is going right. They have to make sure that the finances are taking over, but yet they're still in that position. We need more leads, more sales. So that's why the businesses we work with, when we are working with a founder, our goal is we're going to get your conversion rate up to 30 to 40%. And we're going to build a sales playbook so that you then can give this to a future employee to sell on your behalf. And that's why there's this lingo in the sales world of how to transition from founder-led sales.
Right.
And so
no founder wants to do that forever, right?
I mean, yeah, we signed up another agency last week and the CEO is doing the sales calls and he's like, yeah, I want to get out.
So let's move on to, we talked about big issues that you see.
Yeah.
Were there any ones that we missed that you want to make sure that we get in?
No, I think that's adequate so far. I'm assuming based off some of the other questions that will come up, more of those stories will start to come out.
Right. Yeah, I want to transition to stories. Can you walk us through an example, recent or not recent, keeping the identities of these companies anonymous, where a client maybe thought they had a lead problem and what you genuinely found was the issue, and then how did they receive this news that there were other issues that needed to be addressed?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is very recent. This is like last week recent. Basically, we had the call with the company last Thursday and they became a client on the Friday. Like we onboarded them on the Friday.
This room is pretty sound isolated, but it was just raining here a
Yeah.
second ago.
We had a call with them last Thursday. They signed up on the Friday. They initially thought they had a lead problem. When we actually dug into it, it wasn't essentially a lead problem. It was a conversion problem. They were only converting maybe 5 to 10% of the leads they were getting.
Wow.
For me, I was very surprised because I was actually a customer of theirs before. Their front-facing brand looks pretty good. They have a good reputation, but that reputation is not converting into sales. And so when we kind of, look behind the curtain, it was a case of they didn't have a process. They didn't have a structure. Every sales call felt different. The feedback they were actually getting.
What happened? How were they getting inquiries? Where were some of their principal channels? And then what would happen in the team? How many people were involved?